Hi, it's About 1975, and today I wanted to bring you a video going through how we ended up running a chicken rescue, how Big Red Rooster came to be, or how Big Red Rooster formed into what it is today, which is a large chicken rescue with over 130 birds and 50 odd houses. God knows how many houses it is. It's kind of a weird one because it was never planned. It grew organically. So basically I came home, this was about 7 years ago, just a little over 7 years ago. I came home, I was still smoking then, that's how long ago it was. Just before I quit smoking this was. I walked into my kitchen, I walked out the patio doors into the back garden to have a smoke, and there was a chicken house there with a hen and like 5 chicks running around, and I was like, well, I wasn't expecting to see that when I got home. Turned out that Helen had rescued the hen, who was apparently facing some sort of death sentence. They usually are. If Helen rescues an animal, it's guaranteed it's facing some sort of death sentence. There's always, but if we don't take it, it's going to die. That's usually how the conversation goes. I want to take this in. Oh, we can't. It's going to die otherwise. You wouldn't kill it, would you? That's the way it goes. That's the way the conversation usually starts. So anyway, I came home, found this chicken house in my garden with a hen and 5 chicks. And Helen came home about an hour later, and I asked her about it. And she'd borrowed the house from somebody, rescued the hen, and was going to raise these chicks. And she uttered the immortal line, "I'll do it all, you'll have nothing to do with it, it won't affect you at all." And then over time, that house and hen and 5 chicks has grown into a cockerel rescue centre and us forming a charity. It started slowly. Basically we got some more birds came to us as rescues. A couple of cockerels that people gave us because they were unhandleable or too dangerous, or they couldn't cope with them anymore but didn't want to kill them. There was a woman who gave us a cockerel because it was she couldn't keep it where she was and it was too noisy. We managed to rehome some birds. We actually bred a few. We didn't actually do a lot of breeding, but I remember we bred, well, those chicks, there was Onslow and Pinchy, and Onslow we managed to rehome with our neighbours. Unfortunately he ended up being killed by a fox, but he did have a good life up until that point. And then there was a son of, I think Pinchy was called Dave, and he ended up being rehomed with a load of ex-bats, so he must be having a whale of a time if he's still going. And then we ended up having Scumpy move in the house, so we had the big ginger cockerel that you see on my top of my banner in the house. Now we only have Spike in the house, which is that chicken there. Spike's currently the only resident. Scumpy passed away a little while ago, which is very sad, but he had a really amazing life, and certainly one that most chickens would have been absolutely unitedly jealous of. If you want to know more about Scumpy, there are plenty of videos on my channel about the story of how Scumpy came to live with us originally, but he was one of our first big rescue cases, and he was the tipping off point that we decided to formalise what we were doing and make it into a not-for-profit business with the aim of becoming a charity. So we named a Big Red Rooster in his honour. Now I choose to honour his legacy in Elite Dangerous by having all of my ships as bright orange, basically because of him. But Scumpy was the original rescue case and the basis for Big Red Rooster Rescue. He was the tipping off point. We'd rescued birds before him, but he was kind of the one that made us decide that we were going to do this a bit more seriously, or Helen decided she was going to do this a bit more seriously. And Big Red Rooster has grown since then, and now we have over 130 birds, we have over 50 houses, we've rehomed loads. We do a really good job of matchmaking people across the country. So, quite often we'll find somebody who wants a cockerel, but they're miles from us, and then lo and behold, somebody near them wants to rehome a cockerel, so we put the 2 people in contact. That's actually done really well for us. We rescued a lot of birds without actually having to handle them or even see them, which is excellent. It's something that we can do as well as take in the birds that we can't instantly help. We are unfortunately constantly full because the demand hugely outweighs what we can do. Massively outweighs what we can do. We are pretty much the only UK cockerel rescue, and there are so much demand for it. It really is. You'd be amazed at the amount of people that have a beloved cockerel but have to move it because of some neighbour complaining about the noise, or have to, you know, it is quite horrifying that, you know, we had a neighbour. He lived in farmland in Wiltshire and he's complaining about animal noise. It begs to differ, but you know, fortunately Swindon Borough Council's noise abatement department were of that attitude that no, this is farmland you are next to farmland, they are allowed to keep animals. And so luckily we didn't have to do anything, but there have been other cases where people have had to move them even from the countryside and rural settings, which is bizarre to me. You would think that there would be some slack given to the rural communities, but no. So the amount of people that can't keep their cockerel because it needs to be rehomed because they get a new neighbour, the amount of people that end up moving and they have to go somewhere where they can no longer keep birds, and there is a huge demand for what we do, and we can only do what we can. That's what we keep aiming to do. That's why the money from our YouTube channel goes towards Big Red Rooster and helps to fund whatever I can for the charity for Helen. And that's it. That's kind of how it grew, where it's gone from. So that's all for this video. It wasn't a very good gameplay, so I thought I'd fill the time with talking about this. That's all. Thank you very much for watching.